hesitation, because when the unexpected happens, the best thing you can do is be ready. Know the risk, know the options. Be ready to act. Learn more at foodallergy.org/ready to act.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
You are listening to the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations. 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Today's date is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. The time is 1:50.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am your host of Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace, and we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and Text line. Again, it is 833-212-1017, where you can call in, text in, if you have any thoughts on today's show. It's going to be a juicy one, Truth Nation. It's going to be a juicy one. Also, you can watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube, where you can give us a like, you can give us a share, you can give us a subscribe, so you don't miss any of your award-winning 1017 The Truth shows. Shout out to DJ Brother Z holding it down on the ones and the twos. Shout out to you, Truth Nation. Let me get to the YouTubes. All right, Truth Nation. So, off the top here today, it's gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna do off the top, but I got something I gotta just talk about. So,
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Off the Top on Truth to Power. Kyle, let Truth Nation know what you got to get off your chest today.
So, Truth Nation, we live in a crazy world. Have y'all heard this wild story that's happening? Oh, I forgot to ask the question. Have y'all heard the wild story that has happened? You familiar with this wild story that's happening across Milwaukee and with an elected official and somebody who's in charge of a board? Nope, y'all don't know about it. Well, let me tell y'all. Let me get I gotta I gotta send this message because I gotta see how much information I can share. There it is. All right. So, Truth Nation, it's a weird story, but I saw it a couple weeks ago, and I didn't really want to talk about it because I felt like there's more important things to discuss. But then I heard some audio today, and I said, well, this is interesting. And so, something about me, I like the tea. When I go home, I still do research. I follow the news. I stay up to date on what's happening. But I also like trash TV at times. So sometimes I'll enjoy some trash TV. And let me tell you, the city of Milwaukee got a lot of trash TV with people in high, powerful positions. Let me start by saying this before I keep going. Sexual assault claims should always be taken serious. And they should always be investigated. And they are not a laughing matter, period. I just want to put that out there. But they always should be investigated so we can get all the information so we can come to whatever conclusions we want to. But once that information comes out, you can appropriately talk about it. And it looks like we have all the information where we can finally talk about this. Truth Nation, man, listen, the Common Council President, Jose Perez, has accused the Wisconsin Center District CEO, Marty Brooks, of pinching his buttocks at a Crowley campaign fundraiser for governor. Literally, the Common Council president accused another man of pinching his butt cheek.
What?
Yeah, wild. Now listen, I admit a man has touched my butt before. Now let me be clear, it was a good game. You know what it is. It wasn't like somebody grabbing up on me. Now don't wait a minute now. It was one of them good games during football. I ain't played sport. I ain't played football sports so long. I just smacked my behind on camera. It stings a little bit because I ain't used to that. So I'm not used to anything like that. But I ain't never had another man pinch my booty cheek. Now that's wild. In public at that. That is wild. Especially to the point where I could describe it in a sense where I am talking about the sharpness of the fingernails could be felt in his buttocks. That's some dazzling details. That is some dazzling details from Jose Perez. I'm not making light of this situation, but it's an interesting situation and charges weren't brought. And the thing is that according to Jose Perez, he said that this was not done in a sexual way. He said this was done in a power way. So he wasn't really being sexually assaulted. He said he was being grabbed in more of a power way. Now, what we have to understand is that these two gentlemen have a history with one another, and they seem to just not like one another. That's what it is. They seem to not like one another. So I guess when some people say, when I see you on site, it is what it is, I guess according to these folks, it might be pinching the buttocks. Or pinching cheeks, allegedly. Because Marty said he didn't do it. He said he couldn't believe it. But Truth Nation, the story gets even juicier. And why I say it gets even juicier is Perez went to the police to tell he was assaulted. He said, hey, he did exactly what anybody should do if they ever be assaulted, 100%. If you get assaulted, go and tell, 100%. And the police will do an investigation and hopefully get your justice. Now, when he went to go tell, the police decided to say, okay, how about this? Why don't you call Marty Brooks right now and confront him? Weird. Confront him on the phone. Because remember, here in the state of Wisconsin, it's a one-party state, so you only got to have consent from one party to record a call. So the police decided to say, okay, you make that call to Marty Brooks, and we're going to get him to confess to doing this. And he said, bet. Truth Nation, turn up your radio, turn up YouTube, turn up your 1017 The Truth app that you can always download in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, the 1017 The Truth app. Or you can go to 1017 Truth on YouTube. You can watch and stream us live. But here is, it's about a 4-minute audio of the conversation between Common Council President Jose Perez and the Wisconsin Center District CEO Marty Brooks over the alleged pinch of the buttocks. Turn up your radio so you can hear the audio.
Today's date is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. The time is 1:50 p.m. I'm Detective Andrew Holzum of the Milwaukee Police Department Science
Fundraiser. I'm calling because and we need to talk about what happened at David Crowley's fundraiser. And I didn't go to the board meeting on Friday, and I feel super uncomfortable about what happened, and think we gotta talk about this before I come back to a board meeting or do something, because I'm uncomfortable about what happened.
Tell me what you're uncomfortable with. What happened? Did I attend it?
It's what you did to me, Marty.
What did I do?
When we were standing, talking, it's what you did to me, and I'm totally uncomfortable with that.
If I did anything to make you uncomfortable, it was purely by accident, and I apologize profusely, and I'm at a loss what I did or may have a position I may have put you in. So please share with me, because
we're adults. You know what you did.
Yeah, sir, I do not. I am at a complete loss what you're calling about. I was speaking with you, and I don't recall saying anything that was
It's not what you said. It's what you did.
Sir, I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me what I did. I truly don't know. And if I did something to offend you or put you in an uncomfortable position, I need to know, because I would never do anything to put you in an uncomfortable situation, or myself as well. So if you would please share with me what I did that offended you or put you in an uncomfortable position.
Marty, I'm telling you, you know what you did. I'm standing next to you. It is. I did not go to the board meeting on Friday because I felt totally uncomfortable. And it's not what you said, it's what you did. And you know what you did, Marty.
Sir, I don't know what you're talking about, and there was no board meeting that I'm aware of this past Friday.
Okay, well, the notice went out. I thought there was a board meeting. They asked me if I was going to attend it, and I didn't respond at all. I thought it was this past Friday, but I am just completely taken back that you're acting like you don't know what I'm talking about.
Sir, I do. I have no clue what you're talking about. That's why I need you to tell me, because if I did something that was inappropriate or offended, I do not want to do it again, and I cannot recall anything that I did that was inappropriate or offensive. So please, and if you're uncomfortable telling me, tell it to me, and you'll tell me, but I would never do anything knowingly that would put anybody in a bad situation. So if you're calling me to tell me I did that, please complete the story so I can be aware of it.
I saw what you did too.
Well, then I will call. Then I'll call right now, because I am completely at a loss what I could have done. And the fact that you won't tell me even concerns me, because I want to adjust the behavior if it was offensive.
Okay. I'm disappointed that you're acting like you don't know what you did.
Sir, well, I appreciate that you're calling me to tell me that I did something inappropriate in your presence. The fact that I don't know what it.
The fact that you're acting that way, and you want me to tell you that you pinched my butt.
Oh, come on! I did not do that.
You did too.
That is bullshit. No, sir, I did not do that. No, sir. And I take offense that you're telling me this now. I did nothing to touch you, sir. If I did anything, I would have touched you on the shoulder in an affectionate manner. I do not touch people inappropriately, sir. So there may have been someone else in the area around us, but it was not me. And I will talk to Mara and find out about it, because I am insulted that you're accusing me of that.
Well, it's what happened, and so.
Okay. Well, I look. I cannot refute what you think happened, and I apologize for losing my temper. And if you choose to bring that to the board, I respect that. You have every right to it. I'm going to call you up, because I did not do anything in that regard. Nothing, sir. And if you think I did, I am so sorry. But that is not something that I do. And I apologize if you think I did it. I know I did not. But I certainly will take. I can't take responsibility for something that I did not do. I apologize if you feel that I did that. I did not do that, sir.
Okay.
And so,
Goodbye.
Interesting. Very interesting. I'm with Brother Z said to me in my ear. He said, did he know he was being recorded? I don't know. I have no idea. But the way he was asking questions, well, let me know if something happened. I saw it was just crazy. This is all happening in the city of Milwaukee. You have the CEO of the Wisconsin Center District, which oversees the Bears Center, which oversees I think the Milwaukee Panther Arena and the Highlight Theater. The person that oversees this district is accused of pinching the butt of a common council member, and this is the phone call that they had. Just nonsense. What is happening in this city is crazy. I can't believe that. You think he did it? Zach said, yeah, you think he did? I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think he did it too. But I don't know. He said he didn't do it, so all I can go by is he said he didn't do it, and the police didn't bring any criminal charges, so that's what we have to go by. But I said, when I heard this story, I said, this is crazy, this is nonsense, and this is very Milwaukee-like. You just got all this crazy stuff happening behind the scenes. But I just want to bring that to Truth Nation here today, as Jose Perez was on a call with Marty Brooks, where he called him at the police station, or that wasn't at the police station, he was somewhere else, but with the police, trying to get them to admit that he pinched his butt. What would you do if some man pinched your booty cheeks?
Slap him.
Yeah, I mean, what else you gonna do? Will Smith him?
I'm gonna just slap him.
What if he was a gay man trying to hit on you?
I mean, it's a man, ain't it?
That's true. That's true. Not just out of curiosity. But 833-212-1017. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. Truth Nation, when we come back on the other side, Milwaukee Public Schools is staring down a $46 million budget deficit and the potential of closing 4 schools in the city of Milwaukee in the future. All this means is more cuts are needed in order for this school system to stay sustainable. I told y'all they had a board meeting. I listened to it. And now I have information that I want to bring back based off the board meeting. But MPS is in a dire need of funding, and there is a huge problem on the horizon as they are looking down a budget deficit of over $400 million come the 2021 fiscal school year. Keep it locked. We're going to talk about MPS closing potentially 4 to 6 schools, in MPS having a $46 million budget deficit and staring down $400+ million in the deficit come 2031. It's Truth to Power. Kyle Wallace will have more next.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Truth Nation, mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th for the 2nd annual Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Visit 1017thetruthAwards.com to learn more. The Truth Community Awards are sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Office, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
We need to optimize the PID controller for smoother robotic movements.
Our data analysis shows a significant correlation between the variables in both control groups.
The test shows you've experienced an acute myocardial infarction.
As you'll see on the syllabus, this course will largely focus on the Mesozoic era.
Get your child the access every child deserves. Enroll your K through 8th grade child by February 28th at Milwaukee College Prep, mkeprep.com/enroll.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
President's Day is here, and Steinhoffels is celebrating big right now. Save at least 10% off store-wide on furniture that you have been waiting for at Steinhoffels. And guess what, Truth Nation? It gets even better. When you spend $49.99, Steinhoffels gives you a 65-inch 4K smart TV for free. Yes, you get a TV for free just for hooking up your house, all courtesy of Steinhoffels. Plus, you can test rest a Beauty Black mattress for a chance to win a dream vacation to Hawaii. Yes, Hawaii. It's the President's Day sale at Steinhoffels. You can shop in store. I love shopping in store, or online as well. Your convenience. That's what it's all about. Visit steinhoffels.com or visit them in store today. It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm the host of Truth to Power, Kyle Walsh, and again, we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue. On the other side, we're talking about the booty pinch heard around the city of Milwaukee. What are you looking like?
I thought you were going to say the booty pincher.
Well, I might listen. Marty, I'm going to tell you one. Anybody named Marty, I don't mess with. You know why? Because Marty's always seem like they can lawyer up. Because we heard Marty in that car. What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't. What? Who did what? You got to tell me. I don't know. And then when he went, as soon as he said, "You pitched my butt," he said, "Sir, that is bull. No, I did not. I would never. I would touch you on your shoulder. I would never be a booty bandit going around pinching butts." I don't mess with no Marty. Marty sounds like he can get a lawyer. So I'm according to listen. I don't know what happened. All I know is it's just messed up that it happened. In a sense of the situation, I don't know what happened. So up to the police. But also, Truth Nation, on the other side, I was talking about the fact that Milwaukee Public Schools had their school board meeting yesterday, and I got a chance to watch it. And boy, that is an interesting watch. Very interesting thing to watch. And the Milwaukee Public Schools, we heard yesterday, I talked about it, the $46 million budget deficit that they have, on top of the fact that they're potentially were looking at closing some schools. That was all part of it. And anytime MPS is having these type of conversations, or anytime cuts are on the table, there are always backlash that comes from it. And before we get into talking about the backlash from, the staggering number from the district having a $46 million budget deficit, I think I just need to get some background information so we understand what is happening in this state. Because I think people need to understand that, yes, MPS got some issues. They got some issues. But there's a bigger issue that's happening across the state of Wisconsin. And here in the state of Wisconsin, we have a school funding crisis on our hands, like pure crisis. In order to provide a better education for our kids, we need more funding for our kids. And a report indicated that when you adjust inflation, Wisconsin's public school funding has fallen farther behind the national average. So that means for us here in Wisconsin, first and foremost, we're outperforming how much funding that the state gives. But then we're not investing in our future. We're not investing in our kids. This means that our kids and our schools are not getting the sufficient funding needed in order to provide the quality education that our students and families deserve here in the state of Wisconsin. And that trickles down here in the city of Milwaukee. And y'all know I'm known to be frugal. I don't know, Zach, am I known to be frugal a little bit? I'm known to penny pinch. While old boy was accused of pinching butts, I'm pinching pennies, saving up. So I'm known to be that, but there's some things that you just cannot be cheap on. There's some things you cannot skimp on, and you never can skimp on investing in our children and in their future. And we have to understand as human beings the impact that we have when we touch somebody. And for me, I always think about the fact that when I talk to young students, when I used to work at Marquette and I used to work at Parkside, and whenever I talk to young students or whenever I coach high school football or when I was a mentor in MPS schools working in the summer program in a CLC, there are kids that I impacted, and I'm sure there is something that, and for one of the kids that I talked to, there's some type of lesson that I provided down to them that they may provide to their family than when they once have a family. Just like there's people who taught me things that I'm going to pass down. And do know that I am a reflection and a result of some of the guidance, leadership that my great-great-grandparents and people born in the 1800s that I've never had a conversation with, but through the lessons that they taught to my grandparents and that they taught to my parents that were taught to me, I'm feeling it. So we have to understand that we are really investing in generations that we will not see. That should be the mindset, is that you want to make sure that whatever you leave on this earth, information, guidance, tidbits, can leave a positive impact for a generation you will never see. And that's why we need to be committed to providing our children with the best education that can lead to the best outcomes, because they are our future. Now, that crisis that we are facing is due to a lot of things. Declining birth rates here in the city of Milwaukee is huge. As in the year of 2025, we had the lowest recorded number of births in the city of Milwaukee since 1990. That's a big problem. That's a 15% drop from 2020 and a 29% drop from 2010. That's a huge gap. Also, the biggest factor that we're facing is the fact that education funding is not growing and is not keeping up with the pace of inflation. Here in the state of Wisconsin alone, in the year of 2024, 145 different school districts passed local referendums in order to bring in more money to support their school district because they're not getting funding from the state. So remember when Winky Blue called in and said, well, why Tony Evans did the 325? Well, because the state isn't providing more money. Like MPS this past year got $0 additional dollars from the state in aid. That is a problem. So there's a lot of factors that go into this crisis that we have when it comes to funding. Now, again, there is no excuse for a $46 million budget deficit, but we do have a crisis on our hand, and we're feeling it here in Milwaukee. So I thought all this information was important to set the table for this conversation today about Milwaukee Public Schools, because a lot of y'all like doing the finger pointing. A lot of y'all do that finger pointing, and trust me, I'm going to join the finger pointing party. I enjoy pointing fingers. But I just wanted to talk about all the different factors that have led to this mess that we have with MPS. And so with MPS having this $46 million budget deficit, watching the school board meeting yesterday reminded me of the fact that MPS is in such a tough spot. The administration is dealing with so many different stakeholders and so many different people pulling them in different directions and having to appease so many different people. You have the teachers and the teachers union, which, again, I support teachers. I do. But the teachers union gets on my nerves sometimes, because a lot of times all I heard a lot yesterday was money, 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 money for us, not for the kids. That's just from my perspective what I heard. I support teachers, but I just heard us, and not the kids. And I know they care about the kids because they dedicate their time to helping the kids, but I heard a lot about me yesterday. When I say me, I'm talking about the teachers. You have parents and students who are pulling you in a certain direction. You have the school board that's pulling you in a certain direction. You have the state, and you have detractors who don't seem to care about the success of the students, but more about winning political points, like the guy running for governor, Tom Tiffany, who decided to take a shot at Milwaukee Public Schools yesterday, which he has every right to do so. But where's these same shots at these other school districts that are struggling or have budget deficits, or other school districts that are failing? I don't see the same type of anger coming from them. I just feel like sometimes MPS is a punching bag, and a lot of it is self-inflicted. But I think it is a punching bag simply because the M in MPS is Milwaukee, and you can just attack Milwaukee and win a lot of political points. Now, let me get back on the topic, because I did mention MPS and how we're a failing district. But they're dealing with a lot of headwinds that are impacting our kids negatively, impacting MPS negatively. Yesterday, I talked about how news broke for the 2024-2025 school year, MPS overspent by $46 million. That was discovered through an audit, the third audit that they've had in almost a little over a year. And yesterday, I was unsure about whether or not that was normal. I was unsure. Like, it didn't sound right. It didn't sound good. I was unsure. But then I did some more research, and I read an article discussing how the Rivers Hill School District also had a overspend a couple years ago, but their overspend error was only $2.7 million, where ours is $46 million. So MPS, yes, is a much larger school district, But when you overspending by $46 million, I know that's a big problem. And the fact that you have somebody who had a whole job is supposed to be managing that's crazy. In River Hills, they fired the person who had this problem. In MPS, I'm still waiting for heads to roll. And so we need to understand that $46 million, if you did have any questions or you wanted to try to wait things out like I did, $46 million being overspent is egregious. It is. It's not normal. It's irresponsible for the district to not have a great handle on their finances. Irresponsible. And I'm going to give grace to this current superintendent and her staff because they have been here less than a year. They walked into this complete disaster. That's what they did. The issues that we see have persisted for days, years, months, whatever you want to go, for a long time in MPS. And is a reflection of the poor leadership that we have had in MPS for many years. But for more on this school board meeting and for more on that $46 million, make sure you go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube because WISN 12 has an update on what happened at the school board meeting.
As news of an MPS budget shortfall spread,
what concerns me most is how the shortfall is being managed.
The community came forward with their priorities.
Cuts must be kept from classrooms.
A financial reporting scandal that came to light in 2024 resulted in the state withholding money from MPS until district administrators got the books in order. The scandal also launched a series of audits of the district's finances. Early this year, auditors found that MPS overspent its budget by $46 million.
We are sharing this information now proactively because we all deserve to know where we are to build our next budget.
The committee didn't blame any one staff member or department for the budget lapse, instead blaming declining enrollment with little help from the state.
These projections should be sobering for all of us. Enrollments in particular are incredibly, I would say, existential for the district.
MPS plans to pay off the $46 million in 2 installments, $23 million this school year and $23 million next school year. To make up the money, the district says it's freezing hiring on non-classroom positions, checking to see if it can cut any contracts, studying transportation costs, and
make cuts in our central service staffing, including my administration.
The district is not cutting teachers or student programs right now, but that isn't easing community concerns.
You say this new budget is a reflection of your values, so where does total non-transparency about financial mismanagement factor into your values?
So, Emily, will these cuts be enough to get the district out of the red?
Well, if the math works the way the district thinks it does, MPS would cut the budget deficit to about $3 million. MPS is planning on holding listening sessions about the budget. We'll have those days and times in this story on the 12 News app.
Again,
and that's a big number.
News. Thanks to WISN 12 for that story. But this is all bad news, and we need transparency because we need this to be clear. And again, the person who is in charge, if they have been in charge for more than 2 years and this happened, and their head needs to roll. They need to. But the claim that this overspend was due to school meals and transportation services costs coming in higher than they expected is a poor excuse. It's a poor excuse. Somebody has to be able to catch that. Somebody has to be better at accounting. And MPS pays their chief financial officer $200,000 a year to manage their finances, and that is exactly what they need to be doing. They need to be doing it at a higher level. But 833-212-1017, how does MPS clean up this mess? 833-212-1017. Are you afraid that taxpayers will one day be on the hook for MPS's management mistakes? 833-212-1017. Like I said, I'm naturally I'm inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's disappointing to see this happen. They saw this problem and they came up with a plan to make things right, and they're hoping to balance the budget in 2 years. So I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But at some point, somebody had to step up and say, what's going on here? How did this happen? And again, I reviewed what their plan was yesterday, so I won't take y'all down that. But I'm just confused of how somebody somehow overspent $46 million, and now you also have a budget deficit that you're looking at that's going to be cumulative by 2031 of $420 million. Cumulative, not in 2031, they're going to have a budget deficit of $420 million. Altogether, when you add up all the years, it'll be $420 million. How is, like, what? We can't keep going on like this, Truth Nation. 833-212-1017. MPS has a $46 million budget deficit. If you were on a school board and raising taxes wasn't a thing you could do, what would you cut? Would you cut admin staff? from central office? Would you cut athletics? Would you cut staff? Would you cut programs? Would you close schools? 833-212-1017. That's what we have to talk about. And on the other side, when we come back, I do want to shift the conversation talking about the schools. Because a lot of y'all get all upset when they talk about potentially closing schools and that being on the table. But I don't believe enough people are looking at it from a realistic lens. A lot of us want to say, well, we don't want to, hurt the north side of Milwaukee. We don't want the kids not to have a school, but also, well, we don't want them to have a $46 million budget deficit every year. We don't want to get to 2031 because they didn't get their financial house in order, and we're looking at $420 million cumulative every single year that they all together, but every single year them having a budget deficit where you get to 2031 and they had to find a way to come up with $420 million. That is unsustainable. And we need MPS to be sustainable, and we need MPS to start producing the best students that they can because they do a great job of producing students. They do. 60% of the students in MPS thriving. But until we capture that final 40%, then we can't sit here and celebrate MPS. But 833-212-1017. MPS has a $46 million budget deficit. If you're on the school board, what would you do to cut this budget deficit? It's Truth to Power, Kyle Walsh. You can also watch and stream us live on YouTube, but we'll be back in 3 minutes.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube. City Conference season is coming down to the wire, and we have a battle of two of the top teams in the City Conference Gold Division. Tune in Thursday night as the Milwaukee Hamilton Wildcats go on the road and look to knock off the top team in the City Conference, the Milwaukee Juneau Pioneers. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. The City Conference Game of the Week on the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com is sponsored by Milwaukee Public Schools and presented by Gruber Law Offices.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
I take care of the kids, and I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available, because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Nazir Spencer. The Milwaukee Bucks are in Orlando again for a rematch of Monday's showdown where the Bucks lost 118-99. Tonight's game starts at 6 p.m. with one more game before All-Star break tomorrow night in OKC. In college basketball, Badger basketball forced OT against 8th-ranked Illinois, ultimately winning the game 92-90 in a huge upset. Badgers are 17-7 on the year and 6th in the Big Ten. UW-Milwaukee won their game against the Indy Jaguars 92-88. UWM sits at 10-17 on the year. Marquette lost a close one last night against Villanova 77-74.
James will bring it up right side. 6 seconds left, down 3. James trying to get it. The Stevens does. They've got a second left. He'll throw up a shot, blocked, taken away by Villanova, and that's the end of the game.
Their next matchup is against Xavier on Saturday at 2 p.m. This Sports Update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams, member FDIC.
This is Truth to Power on 101.7 The Truth app, and streaming live on 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. I'm Kyle Walsh, your host of Truth to Power in Truth Nation. Mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th for the second annual Truth Community Awards presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Don't wait. Go to 1017truthawards.com to buy your tickets. They're going fast. Don't wait. We're getting to the point now. Don't wait, because you definitely want to be there. We're going to have good food, a great time, and we're going to be awarding some incredible individuals here in the community. The Truth Community Awards are presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, and Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall. Come celebrate with us on Friday, February 20th at the Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman from 5:30 to 8 at Venue 3 in the 3rd Street Market Hall. Do not miss out on the best community awards event of the year. But 833-212-1017 Truth Nation, we were talking about Milwaukee Public Schools and how they are staring down a $46 million budget deficit coming up right now, actually. They overspent by $46 million last year, and they're looking for ways to make cuts. Some of those cuts include looking to try to get more federal grants for food. Some additional cuts are they're going to have a hiring freeze as well. They're going to see, is there any type of staff that they can let go? But they're going to be looking for ways to make sure they can find a way to cut this down. Their goal is to cut it this year and next year to save $23 million each year, and right now they're doing a mid-year cut. I want to hear from you. If you were on the Milwaukee School Board, what would you do to save MPS money? How would you handle MPS moving forward? And also, MPS was potentially talking about closing 4 schools across the north side of Milwaukee. Now, luckily for the north side of Milwaukee, they are not closing those schools, but I do believe there needs to be a bigger conversation had about what the future of some of those schools look like. You're talking about Our Avenue, Clark Street School, Lloyd Hopkins, and Seafer School, all in the same zip code, or all in a chopping block. Now, they ended up not closing the schools as of yesterday, but do understand there's going to be some consolidation coming in MPS coming up pretty soon. So there is going to be a conversation, maybe not this year, but I promise you, as MPS transitions to having K through 6 schools and 7 through 12 schools, that means you're going to be pulling kids from other schools and closing certain buildings, and you need to be part of that conversation of what school gets closed. And I want to talk about, after we take these calls, while we need to have a pragmatic approach to this, and we don't need to be all frustrated, but we need to be thinking about the fact that what's right for the kids. 833-212-1017. Steve, you're on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, Truth to Power. What are your thoughts on today's conversation about MPS having a $46 million budget deficit that was discovered?
Well, thanks for that, Kyle. Kyle, you got a great show, man. I'm going to be honest with you. You go in for this hour.
Thank you, sir.
Real quick, no problem. So $46 million, right? Not a lot of money for a school district. But as far as deficit, one thing that I would do if I'm on this school board, you just mentioned those 4 schools closing. In those same areas, that's something that you really have to think about. MPS is behind right now when we talk about metropolitan school districts. MPS shouldn't be in this position. They have too many structural. First off, cut structural deficits, 4 schools, consolidate into one school. Those buildings, you're going to get cash from that. That'll flow back in, reduce the deficit. Number 2.
Steve, some people don't like that.
Quit looking. What's that?
Some people don't like that idea.
Well, some people don't like. Some people don't know business, and so Brenda Cassellius has it. She's the role of superintendent is now a business manager. Has nothing to do with academics, to tell you the truth. You are the lead instructional leader, but has nothing to do with academics in the superintendent role. Your job is to be a good steward of taxpayer dollars.
Steve, I want to keep us rolling because I do have 3 other callers, but I want to keep us rolling. You can give your next 2 points, and we're going to have to keep rolling. But I appreciate the call.
Got it. Quit looking for these federal handouts from the government. It's only going to shrink. So what you do, you lean in, right? You lean in on some of your city, the people who are, supporting you, like your Chevy Johnsons. You go in and see what you can do with that. Number 2, you're too top heavy. Get some of those big leadership roles back into the buildings. But more importantly, the structural piece, and go back to business, right? And one last thing, those charter and private schools, it's nipping at enrollment. You mentioned enrollment earlier. That's huge for MPS. So how do you bring back a good brand that you can re-enroll students? Okay. Thanks, Kyle.
Steve, thank you so much. And to Steve's point, enrollment for MPS has dropped 30 to 40% since the early 2000s. And a lot of that has to do with, yes, less children, but more importantly, when you have these other charter choice schools that are siphoning off the students because there are other opportunities for these kids to go to, that is hurting MPS. There is more competition for these students with MPS. And MPS, because of the branding, as Steve talked about, they need to do a better job at branding themselves, and that's why they need to reinvent themselves and find a way to promote excellence. 833-212-1017. Millicent, thank you so much for holding. What are your thoughts on today's conversation?
I'm pretty good. How's everything going, Kyle? I think the one thing that they could get rid of, and it would help, is transportation. Transportation should be limited to special ed students only. That would get rid of $20 million right there if we got rid of transportation. If you want your kid to go to a school outside of walking distance, you have to put some skin in the game and get them there.
Okay. So no more busing.
That's basically how it is. No more yellow buses. If the kid is old enough, you can put them on a city bus. But if we got rid of busing, that would take care of most of that deficit.
Okay. Thank you so much, Millicent. I think that's an interesting thought. I am a big believer in neighborhood schools, and kids should be going to their neighborhood schools. But I think, again, everything should be on the table, and how you can cut transportation is by limiting the amount of students that actually need to go from one side of town to another, which potentially you can limit how many bus contracts that you need or how many buses that you put in the contract. But 833-212-1017. Vincent, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, as we are talking about MPS having a $46 million budget deficit.
Good afternoon, Kyle.
Good afternoon.
First of all, Milwaukee Public Schools needs to explain how and why this deficit has come in place, and what are they going to do about it in the future in order to not allow this to happen again? Because we continue to come down this road that either they don't know where the money went. They were trying to explain to the state a couple of years ago that they didn't know where funds have gone and things like that. So somebody needs to explain what's happening to this money that the taxpayers of Milwaukee can understand. And second of all, yes, that the enrollment has dropped in Milwaukee Public Schools. You need to consolidate. You need to consolidate. The schools that you do close, you need to sell. They've been arguing over this for at least 25 years. Mm-hmm. When they closed the school, they did not want to sell those schools. They need to sell those schools. And so you have an asset, get rid of that asset. And so that's what they need to do. They need to consolidate. Their enrollment is shrinking. So the fact is, certainly some schools have to close, and they need to deal with that administration down there on Police Street.
Vincent, I'm after watching that board meeting, that was an interesting thing to watch. And again, I think the folks on the school board are doing the best that they can, but I don't think there is a pushback voice Aisha Carr was somebody who was trying to do things differently, and I think right now there might be more people who just want to go with the flow, which I don't think ends up getting the best outcome for our students. We got to be creative in order to get change. 833-212-1017. Al from Sherman Park. What up, Al? What are your thoughts on today's conversation about Milwaukee Public Schools and a $46 million budget deficit they have?
Hey, how you doing, Kyle? Obviously, we're not spending the money that exists in the bank. We're overspending what we have. The city of Milwaukee needs to help the Milwaukee Public Schools get rid of some of that property so they don't have to maintain it. The city owns the property, but the public schools have to pay the maintenance costs of maintaining those buildings. So we've got to put a push on the aldermen to get rid of those vacant Milwaukee public properties, school properties.
I agree, Al. Thank you so much. 833-212-1017. I think when I come back on the other side, I'm going to share my thoughts about those school buildings and those properties, because I think that is something that we really do need to address moving forward of what we do. And it's going to be a tough conversation that needs to be had, but we're going to have it today. Keep it locked. You're listening to Truth to Power, Kyle Walsh. But before we go to break, do understand I got to give away that cash money.
One call, that's all.
One call, that's all is right. Right now is your chance to be our one call, that's all Gruber 5K giveaway entry for the day. You could be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices. Be caller number 10 right now at 833-212-1017, and you'll be entered to win $5,000 with the award-winning 1017 The Truth in the Gruber Law Offices 5K giveaway. Again, that is caller number 10 at 833-212-1017 for your chance to be entered to win $5,000. Remember, if your loved one has ever been injured in an accident, contact Gruber Law Offices today by visiting gruber-law.com. For official contest rules, go to 1017thetruth.com. Again, we're looking for caller number 10 for your chance to win that $5,000 to be entered to win. This is Truth to Power, Kyle Walsh. We'll wrap up the show on the other side.
On Sunday afternoon, the Milwaukee Panthers return home to face in-state rival UW Green Bay Phoenix at the UWM Panther Arena for the Battle of I-43.
Loop a pass, baseline right, Franklin, in on Cotton, reverse layup. Oh, that was pretty. Elam, wrap a pass, left corner, Jackson, trigger three, and he hits it.
Scott Warris has the coverage starting at 1:30 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 2 o'clock.
Injured at work, unable to work due to health problems, or denied veteran benefits you're entitled to? Last year, Tayback Law returned over $73 million in wrongfully denied VA and Social Security benefits to people in our communities. Tayback Law celebrates Black History Month by bringing its message to 101.7 The Truth. The team is thrilled to see Milwaukee achieve this exciting new outlet for speaking truth to power. And Tayback Law is always ready to fight for you. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Hey y'all, it's 1017 The Truth's Rhea Riley for Sweet Talks Medical Spa in Menominee Falls. Skip the sterile clinical office feel. Sweet Talk stays on the cutting edge of beauty and wellness innovations in a vibrant, playful space promoting self-love and confidence. Sweet Talk specializes in a range of treatments, including injectables, medical-grade skincare, weight loss, hormone therapies, and more. Not sure where to start? Sweet Talks offers comprehensive wellness consultations to create a customized plan centered around you. Because at Sweet Talks, your goals are their goals. Learn more at sweettalks.com.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Remember, you can always watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. And I don't have enough time to really get into the school. So you know what? I'm gonna talk about the school buildings another day, because I think that is something that is a hot topic and a hot conversation of the fact that MPS has empty buildings, and then MPS has also underutilized buildings in a sense. When I say underutilized, they're not as filled buildings that they have all these students in, and I think there needs to be a conversation about consolidating these schools, but there's just always so much pushback whenever you start having these conversations. But focusing on the $46 million, Truth Nation, and you can't call in, but you can text in if you want to. But when it comes to the $46 million, that was a budget deficit, do understand that the current administration, because I see some folks talking about, the superintendent make all this money, what's happening? But the current administration just got here. Literally, they've been here less than a year. They walked into this problem. Remember, we hadn't turned in our paperwork to the Department of Public Instruction on time for years. And so what happens is when you're a functioning operating business and you're operating at a higher level, you're going to have an audit, and an audit usually is going to catch things. But the fact that MPS had to have 3 audits in 13 months and they keep catching all these accidents just shows you how reckless and how poorly run they were in the past. And so, again, I think we should be applauding Brenda Cassellius for what she has been able to do so quickly to try to improve MPS. And to be quite frank and honest, look at what the response has been to all these different headwinds that have hit MPS. I mean, when she got here, she had to turn the paperwork in on time. When she got here, they were talking about having to remove the lead pipes. Check. She turned in the paperwork in on time. Well, not on time, extended deadline, then turned it in. They spent $40 million getting rid of all the lead inside of schools. That's a good thing for our kids. And now we're staring down $46 million in a budget deficit, and they already have a comprehensive plan of what they are going to do in their plan of action of how they're going to address these things. They're going to have a freeze of non-essential new positions in contracted services. They're going to increase their participation in the federal nutrition program, which allows for them to get more reimbursement money from the federal government. They're going to look at the transportation costs and do a study and figure out how can they reduce those costs. They're going to review existing contracts to see what can they cut, what can they change. But what we have to understand, Truth Nation, tough decisions will have to be made in the future, because right now the path that they're on a cliff of unsustainability. And until the state decides to give more funding to the schools, they're going to continue to come to us. Do understand, from now 2026 to 2031, where cumulatively you're going to see a $420 million total that they were having a deficit over the span of that 5-6 years. What we're going to see is they're going to come back to us asking for another referendum. Hopefully I'll still be on air to talk about that referendum. But they're going to come back asking for another referendum. So this is something that we need to be aware of with MPS. But I do want to have a conversation. I want y'all to chime in. Maybe I'll have it this week or next week. But I do want to have a conversation about closing some schools here in Milwaukee, because that one always is a fire starter. It gets emotions on both sides. But thank y'all so much for tuning in today. And my final thoughts is I started the show talking about Jose Perez and Marty Brooks. Jose Perez is the Common Council president. Marty Brooks is the CEO of the Wisconsin district. Jose Perez accused Marty Brooks of pinching him on the behind. And he went and told the police, which he should have did that. But what I think is funny is I never forget Sherwin. He might have talked about it today. Sherwin telling the story about how Jose Perez came up to the market hall to try to fight him. And I find it interesting that he came to a market hall that got bulletproof glass windows to try to fight somebody. But when somebody pinched his booty cheeks, he ain't do nothing. Big bark, small bite. It's Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. The Tory Lowe Show is up next from 1 to 4. Truth Nation, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Peace out, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow.